Oh yeah, it's that time of year again. It's April Fool's, so you know what that means. It's time to review more My Little Pony Friendship is Magic content. Last year I reviewed every single episode of the series. That's right, I reviewed more than 200 episodes and the video ended up being over 3 hours long. So if you're interested in watching it, then I'll leave a link to it down below.
Lucky star!
Anyway, this year I had two ideas on what to do for April Fools. I could either review the two Friendship is Magic films, or I could review the entire Equestria Girls series instead. However, if you go to my channel, you'll see that I decided to upload another video besides this one. That's right, this year for April Fools, I'm reviewing both the films as well as all of the Equestria Girls films, specials, and episodes. Now, I originally planned to make just one video reviewing all of them, but there was a small problem. That being, I couldn't come up with a title that sounded good or wasn't overly long as well. I thought of something along the lines of reviewing the My Little Pony films plus Equestria Girls. There was also Equestria Girls versus the My Little Pony films, but that didn't sit right with me either. So yeah, because of that, I decided to just make two separate videos. Anyway, as for this video, I'll be reviewing the entire Equestria Girls series. That means I'll be watching all 4 movies, 3 episodes, and 5 specials. There's also some YouTube shorts that are only 2 minutes long each, which I have nothing to say about since again, they're just shorts. Anyway, I've been a fan of the main series for 11 years now. I was obsessed with it for about half a year, but then slowly stopped caring as time went on. However, even when I was super invested in the series, I never really cared for its bizarre spin-off, which of course was Equestria Girls. I originally watched the first film twice, Rainbow Rocks once or maybe twice, and then finally the Cell Games only once. And what did I think of them? They were all fine, I guess. Rainbow Rocks was easily the best, but the first and third films were again just okay. I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of people think about the series too. Some don't like them, some like them more than others, but I think overall people are just mixed on and can tolerate them. And that's basically what I expect to get out of this retrospective. I'm sure I'll still think at worst the first 3 films are watchable, and I'm sure I'll enjoy the rest of the series to a certain extent. But I guess there's only one way to find out. So without further ado, let's begin with the Juan that started it all. So, the first Equestria Girls is...
Okay.
Yeah, this film is extremely basic and generic, sorta like the 2017 film. Now, I don't care for the 2017 film, mainly because it's as basic and simple as a film can be. That being said, even though Equestria Girls is nothing more than a generic fish-out-of-water high school movie, I still get a fair amount of enjoyment from it. Again, I know that's weird to say since my main criticism with the 2017 film was its simplicity, but I'll try to explain myself. The 2017 film had the main cast go on an adventure to save Equestria, which they've already done multiple times in the show. It felt extremely safe, cliche, and bland, which is why I didn't care for it all that much. Equestria Girls, while still a by-the-books high school film, is at least something new that the series has never done before. It took all the characters and put them in a new setting with brand new designs. So basically, as a film, Equestria Girls doesn't do anything groundbreaking, but as a My Little Pony film, it's something very different. Also, I'm sort of a sucker for any movie or show that takes place in high school. I'm a Harem anime fan, and 90% of those take place in high school.
I'm going to rape you!
Anyway, let's talk about its story. So Equestria Girls takes place after season 3, meaning that Twilight is an alicorn and also a princess. She and her other gal pals spend the night in the Crystal Empire, and while they're sleeping, someone sneaks in and steals Twilight's crown. She then escapes by going into a portal to another world. You'd think at least Twilight or one of the main 6 would rush in there to get the crown back, but I guess not. Also, everyone just waits until the next morning to tell Caden, Celestia, and Luna about all this. Why do they all just go back to bed and not wake up Celestia during the night? Who knows? Anyway, we find out that the pony who stole Twilight's crown was an old student of Celestia's named Sunset Shimmer. However, for the past 11 years, I've always called her cunt shit swimmer, so that's what I'm gonna call her throughout the video. Anyway, Celestia and Luna explain that Swimmer went to another world that's unlike Equestria. What's it like? How do they know this? Have they been there themselves? Have they sent someone else into there? I don't know, because the film never answers any of these questions. All we know is that this portal opens once every 30 days and stays open for 3 whole days. Why once every 30 days and why does it close after 3 days? Because that's what Jason Thiessen wanted, I guess. Anyway, Celestia tells Twilight to go inside the portal, although everyone else has to stay behind. If all 6 of them went, then it'd be too chaotic and it would probably be more difficult for Twilight to get her crown back. Although a lot of the writing has been really shitty and dumb so far, at least this is one thing that actually makes somewhat sense. After hearing that, Twilight and Spike go in, and then...
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman.
Twilight wakes up, Spike is now a dog, and she's a... Yep, Twilight is now a human, and so is everyone else from Equestria. I guess I'll take a detour real quick and talk about the designs, since they're notably different from anything else we've seen in the series before. The character designs are very mixed. Some are decent, but others are really uncanny. All the main characters like Twilight, Fluttershy, Applejack, and also Cuntshit look decent. They still look weird, but that's mainly because we're used to seeing them be ponies this entire time. I didn't like the designs originally, but over the years they've grown on me, if only a little. However, I'm only talking about the main characters because, like I said, there's also others that do not look so good. Like at all. Celestia and Luna look like shit, and other minor or background characters like Cheerilee look bad as well. That being said, the main cast takes up the majority of the film's screen time, so we don't get to see much of the poorly designed characters. Well, except for when Swimmer powers up in the last act and turns into whatever the hell this is. But yeah, although the designs are mixed, at least it's visually distinct. It's also fun to spot and recognize background characters, even if again, some of them don't look great as humans. Anyway, back to Twilight screaming. So Twilight is now a human and starts to get used to her new body along with the new world too. She meets up with Fluttershy, who tells her to go see Principal Celestia if she wants to get her crown back. So she goes there to get her crown back, but instead of asking for it and saying it's hers, she instead decides to participate in the school formal to win it back. Yeah, this is really stupid and out of character for Twilight. Again, why doesn't she just ask for the crown and tell Celestia that it's hers? The thing is, forcing Twilight to participate in the school's formal isn't a bad concept, and it actually could have worked well. All they had to do was make it so that her crown changes appearance like her and Spike did. That way, it looked like a regular cheap crown, and Twilight wouldn't be able to convince Celestia that it's really hers. But no, instead Twilight decides not to tell Celestia, and she decides to be in the formal because all hail Jason Thiessen.
Why is EVERYPONY? Everybody.
After this, a decent amount of the film is dedicated to introducing or reintroducing the main 6. As generic and simple as the concept is, I don't mind it. Even though we've been introduced to and already know all these characters, it's still fun to see them since they're all so likable and work well together. This just goes to show how good the series cast really is, since they can still work in a bland high school setting like this. You can put these characters in pretty much anything, and as long as the writing isn't half bad, then you'll most likely have a decent time. And as for the writing, well, I've complained about multiple things so far, but there's plenty more wrong with this film. First off is quite literally a big plot hole, which is the portal that connects Equestria to Canterlot High. So the portal is open for 3 days straight, and let me remind you that the portal is right out in the open in front of the school. So literally anyone could trip and fall into it and be sent to Equestria during those 72 hours. The fact that no one has ever accidentally done this is extremely unrealistic. Second, what about Cunt Shit Swimmer? She originally came from Equestria, so wouldn't that mean there's a Cunt Shit Swimmer here in Canterlot High too? At least Pinky mentions that Twilight's human self lives in another town over, which I actually kind of like. But the thing is, they never mention this when it comes to Swimmer. Where is she? Did the pony swimmer kill her? Probably. At the end of the first day, Twilight has nowhere to sleep, so she just sleeps in the library. You're telling me none of the teachers or janitors saw her stay after school closed? Also, there's no way she'd be able to fall asleep on top of a bunch of books. She'd roll around in her sleep and the whole book bed would fall apart. While she's in bed, she's looking at a picture of everyone, which I think is supposed to be a reference to the photo at the end of the series intro. Some of the poses the characters are in look very similar, but some of the characters aren't in the right places. Anyway, this is supposed to be a picture of them back when they were freshmen. However, they all look like they're in 4th or 5th grade. There's this one part where Swimmer gives Luna pictures of Twilight and says that she ruined and crashed the school's gym. Obviously, the pictures are fake, but how they're fake is what's really stupid. Instead of being edited in Photoshop, Snips and Snails just cut out pictures of Twilight and tape them onto another picture. Wouldn't it be easy to notice that there's another picture layered on top of another one? The thing that boggles my mind even more is that Snips and Snails know how to use video and image software since they made a video of Twilight earlier in the film.
Twilight Sparkle wants to be your fall formal princess.
So there is an argument to be made that they did use Photoshop to edit these pictures. However, if they did, then why do they have printouts of the gym and Twilight? They took the original photos on their phone, so all they need to do is upload them, download them, and then edit them on a computer. Either way, this is a problem that's so stupid and it really bothers me. The stakes are almost non-existent in the film too. If Twilight fails to get the crown back by the 3rd night, then she'd be stuck in Canterlot High for a quote-unquote really long time. Let me remind you that she'd be stuck here for 4 weeks, which isn't that big of a problem. Sure, it would suck that she wouldn't be able to go back to Equestria for almost a full month, but it's not like she'd be stuck here for over a year or something major like that. Finally, there's the age difference between some of the characters in Canterlot High, which doesn't make much sense. In the main series, the main 6 are in their early 20s, however here they're aged down to about 17 or 18. As for the Crusaders, they're somewhere between 8 to 12, I believe. However, here they're now 14 since they're all freshmen. Celestia and Luna are over 1,000 years old, but here they're like 40. What the heck, Jason Thiessen? Get with it.
When you're a younger
Anyway, as you can tell, there's a lot of dumb things in this movie. There are major plot holes, and overall the writing is pretty shit. That being said, its characters and comedy sort of make up for this. As mentioned, the main cast, while not as good as they are in the main series, are still a lot of fun here. And despite the plot being somewhat of a mess, at least there's a good amount of jokes that land.
Of course you lost. I'm awesome.
As for its songs, they aren't half bad. This Is Our Big Night is good, and Helping Twilight Win the Crown is by far the best in the film. I remember back when I first started watching the series, I thought it was really cringy hearing everyone say "EVERYPONY." So when I heard them finally say "everybody," I got so excited I started screaming it during the song. Hey, everybody! All the other ones are fine, so overall the music isn't too bad. Also, during the Helping Twilight Win the Crown song, there's this one shot that wasn't rendered or exported correctly, so it's in low quality. No other shots in the film are like this, and I don't know how no one noticed this. Anyway, I guess it's time to talk about the final act, which sorta sucks. So, Twilight wins the school formal, and now she finally gets her crown back. However, Swimmer is an asshole, kidnaps Spike, and threatens to destroy the portal back to Equestria. Twilight says she doesn't care what happens to the portal, so Swimmer runs and topples over her. While this is going on, everyone is standing there while Twilight is dealing with Swimmer. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Stop standing around and do something. Anyway, Swimmer gets the crown and She transforms into someone's DeviantArt avatar and starts turning everyone into zombies. But then Twilight and everyone stop her by using the power of friendship, which is really dumb.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!
Swimmer starts crying, and of course Twilight forgives her because everyone can be forgiven. Even Hitler. Anyway, somehow everyone is just okay with the fact that magic exists now and no one seems to care. Also, I guess everyone who lives nearby was sleeping or was just looking the other way and wasn't paying attention during the last 10 minutes. So yeah, this is just another major plot hole that doesn't make any sense. After this, Twilight goes back to Equestria and everyone is just there in front of the portal waiting for her. I like to think that they were just waiting there for 3 days straight because they had nothing better to do. Either way, Twilight is back, everyone is happy, and the day is saved, no thanks to Jason Thiessen. Well, that was Equestria Girls, and it was a big fat mess of a film, but despite its major glaring flaws, I still can't help but enjoy it. There's insane plot holes, characters acting stupid for no reason, and just bad writing in general. Despite that though, it's carried by its fun cast, good comedy, and also bizarre art style too. I can see if people dislike this film because again, it really isn't good, but I can also see if there's people like me who enjoy how dumb and stupid it is. And that's why I'm giving Equestria Girls a 6 out of 10.
Dude, we're getting the band back together.
Rainbow Rocks is the Empire Strikes Back of Equestria Girls. This is easily considered to be the best of the 4 films among fans, and I share that same opinion too. While I did enjoy the first film, I don't consider it to be a good film since it's filled with problems. Rainbow Cocks, on the other hand, is genuinely good. It doesn't do anything groundbreaking, and it's still nowhere close to some of the series' stronger episodes. But still, as a standalone movie, it's not half bad at all. Right off the bat, the film addresses one of my complaints with the first film, that being how no one noticed all the magic being used at the school. In a nearby restaurant, the new villains named the Sirens are busy sniffing some farts, but then suddenly they notice Twilight and everyone using magic to defeat Cunt Shit Swimmer. While I do like this, I'm still bothered that the restaurant is filled with other people that just ignore this for no reason. But again, even though this is dumb, I do enjoy that Twilight's use of magic results in more villains coming to take over the world. Anyway, it's been a few months since Swimmer's defeat, and she's been trying to redeem herself since she was a giant bitch. However, despite her efforts, a lot of people obviously still don't trust her. Plus, even though the main 6, or I guess 5, are friends with her, they still casually shit on her too every once in a while, which is great. Anyway, the Sirens come to Canterlot High and trick everyone into hating each other so they could feed off their negative energy. Once they do that, they manipulate Celestia and Luna into letting the school have a battle of the bands. After realizing that they're in deep shit, Cunt Shit Swimmer uses a book to contact Twilight and asks her for help. Back in Equestria, Twilight gets Swimmer's message and does something really stupid. She somehow makes a device that lets her go in and out of the portal whenever she wants to. Even though the stakes were low in the last film, at least there were some stakes in it. Twilight had only 3 days to be in Canterlot High, otherwise she had to wait another 4 weeks before returning back to Equestria. But now that's gone, which is really dumb. I know it would be really convenient, but it'd be better if the portal just so happened to be open the day Twilight got Cunt Shit's message. And again, even if Twilight ended up staying there for more than 3 days, she'd still make it back to Equestria in 4 weeks anyway. Either way, this is really dumb, unnecessary, and this was only done because Hasbro needed Twilight to be in the film. It would have been better if Cunt Shit took Twilight's place and stopped the Sirens along with the main 5. Now, although this part is really forced and stupid, this is the only part of the film that's like this. That's right, I really don't have much to complain about besides this one dumb moment. The sound mixing is kind of shit, although that could just be due to the rip I found online. There's a big difference in volume from when characters are talking and whenever they start singing. Again, this could just be a bad rip I watched it on, but the other films didn't have this problem. Also, the first act, or first 25 minutes, is a bit slow and clearly the weakest part of the film, but that's much more of a nitpick if anything.
You
are a bitch nigga.
Anyway, the rest of the film is just notably stronger once it gets into the second act. But yeah, while I did enjoy the first film, I enjoy this film for much different reasons. Like I said, this is a genuinely good and well-written film. The writing, while not great, is still good on its own. The premise is still pretty basic, but at least a music competition is more interesting than a school formal. It also helps that the sirens are better villains than Kunchit, even though I still liked her. Plus, they also have multiple songs that are really good too. I guess this is a good time to talk about the music, since that's what everyone and their second grandmother's twice removed ex-sister-in-law loves about the film. The songs in Rainbow Cox are pretty damn good. There's like two that are just okay and kinda forgettable, but Battle of the Bands, Shake Your Tail, Awesome As I Wanna Be, and Welcome to the Show are all solid. There's also Under Our Spell, which is easily the best song in the movie and probably even one of the best songs in the entire mainline series. I had it stuck in my head for a few days, so I guess you could say that the song rocks. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about Rainbow Cox. The songs are really good, the writing is a lot better, and even the ending isn't too dumb either. Instead of just holding hands and saying friendship roar XD, they stop the sirens by singing a super cool song, so that's awesome sauce.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!
And that's why I'm giving Rainbow Cox a 7 out of 10.
So, Cell, how does it feel having so many men inside of you?
The Cell Games is a disappointing follow-up to Rainbow Cox. Not only that, but even as a standalone film, it's pretty mediocre.
Mediocre?
So after 2 films, we finally get introduced to this world's Twilight, which is pretty neat. She's a super nerdy girl that's obsessed with magic and is also the smartest student in her high school, called Crystal Meth Prep. It turns out every 4 years, Crystal Meth Prep and Canterlot High have something called the Cell Games, where their students face off in an academic competition. The inclusion of Twilight as well as the Cell Games are both good concepts, however they aren't executed too well. I like Twilight as a character, but she does act really stupid in this film. She's able to make a device that can absorb and contain magic, yet she's too dumb to realize that she should put it away after it steals multiple people's magic. It steals Rarity's first, which she doesn't realize, but then it takes away Kunchit's magic, which she does see. However, she just runs away, yet continues to wear it everywhere she goes. She then takes Pinky's and Fluttershy's, but again, chooses not to put it away because she's a fucking idiot.
Stupid.
Once she has all this magic, she decides to open the device, and for some reason the magic corrupts her. Why? She's not evil, and the magic itself isn't evil either. All the magic she took was from Kunchit and the main 5, and they aren't evil. In the first film, Kunchit transformed into an evil, whatever the hell that was, because she herself was evil. But again, Twilight isn't evil. Look at her here. She's scared and crying. She doesn't want to be engulfed by the magic, which again is the main 5's magic. Did she only turn evil like this because they needed a big dumb fight scene for the final act? If they wanted one, then it would have made more sense for the principal to take Twilight's device and get corrupted instead. She could have been so obsessed with winning that she decides to use the magic to try and destroy the school. It wouldn't have been as interesting as an evil Twilight, which I do like, but again, it doesn't make any sense. Once Twilight transforms, Kunchit takes the device and uses the magic from it to defeat Twilight. But wait, I thought the magic was evil, wasn't it? Why does Kunchit get the state good, yet Twilight turns into a big bad meanie weenie? That doesn't make any sense. Obviously, Kunchit saves Twilight, and then we get to the most frustrating part of the film.
I think it's fair to declare us all winners.
Yep, you heard that right. The competition ends in a draw, so now everyone's a winner. Yay. Fuck off, I hate this. I can't stand it when no one wins a competition. It ruins the entire point of it. Yes, having fun is important, but the point of a competition is for there to be a winner. If no one wins, then what's the point of it being a competition? They really couldn't have had one of the schools win? I don't even care who wins, just pick one and I'll be happy. But no, you had to have there be no winner because fuck you! One notable downgrade from the last two films is its villain, Principal, I forget her name, so I'm just gonna call her Principal Penis. So Penis is your typical generic mean principal who's nothing but a big old bitch. She's boring, she's extremely forgettable, and she's probably the worst mainline villain in the entire series. Chancellor Neisei sucked, but at least he was somewhat entertaining because he was nothing but a big racist. Nightmare Moon sucked too, but she was the first villain, so I'm willing to cut her some slack. Also, they made her much more threatening and cool in the season 5 finale too. But as for Principal Penis, there's literally nothing to her. The one good thing I can really say is that she sings part of the best song in the film, Unleash the Magic. But besides that, I actually forgot she was in the film at all, just because she's so bland and forgettable. Worst of all, she's ugly and unattractive, so I can't even fap to her like I can with Cunt Shit and the Sirens.
You what?
Anyway, unlike the last two films, this one doesn't show Equestria or any ponies in it. Well, actually no, it still does, however it's only when Twilight is evil and is opening up portals to Equestria, but they're not on screen for long and they're really only in the background, so they don't get much attention. It's not like Rainbow Cocks where 20 minutes in we get an entire 5-minute scene of Equestria, which was really jarring and again, unnecessary. But either way, I like this because it shows that Equestria Girls has sort of become its own thing now. It doesn't need to have any ponies in it anymore, and I hope the rest of the specials and episodes don't rely on the mainline series either. However, because it's become less attached and reliant on the main series, it becomes its own thing, which is both good but also bad. As its own thing, it's not very good since it's mainly just generic and cliche. Unlike Rainbow Cocks, it's not a genuinely good and mostly well-written film. Instead, it's one with kinda shitty writing, although still not as bad as the first one. Also, unlike the first film, I can't enjoy how dumb its concept is along with its designs because again, it's sort of become its own thing now. Its designs aren't so dumb they're funny and weird to look at anymore, and I've gotten used to seeing the main six attend high school too. The series can't be carried by its dumbness, and I can't just ignore its bad writing either. While I've gone over my biggest complaints with the writing, there's still some more I have with it. One of them is that this world Spike doesn't talk for more than half of the film, which I actually like. It's a different take on Spike, and it would have been nice if they kept him like this throughout the film. But I guess Kathy Weasluck really needed another paycheck, or I guess Hasbro forced the writers to have him talk. It's a My Little Pony movie. We gotta have Spike talk. Everyone loves Spike, am I right?
No.
Also, the ending is just as stupid as the first films. There's portals opening all around the school, and there's two girls flying and shooting magical beams at each other. How does no one nearby hear or see this? This is a big problem, and I hate how the writers just ignore this. While it was still a problem in Rainbow Cocks, it wasn't as bad there. The Sirens had a lot of energy, so I could see if anyone nearby was affected by them and was forced to ignore all the magic. It's definitely a stretch, but at least it's better than the first film and in the Cell games.
Now's your chance!
I guess the last thing I'll talk about is its music. Rainbow Cocks music was really good, so of course it was going to be a challenge to top or even match it. Unfortunately, just like the writing, the music took a notable drop in quality. Akadeka is decent and Unleash the Magic is actually really damn good. It's by far the best in the film, and it's up there with some of Rainbow Cocks' best too. However, besides these two, all the other songs are very forgettable. But yeah, that was the Cell games, and it was pretty mediocre. It might have some fun moments and good concepts, but in execution, they aren't handled well. The writing is weak, the songs aren't nearly as good as the ones in Rainbow Cocks, and overall, it just isn't as entertaining as the last two films. I could definitely see if people find this okay and even better than the first one, but for me, I just have too many problems with it. And that's why I'm giving the Cell games a 5 out out of 10.
Is it the Legend 27?
Yeah, the Legend 27.
Who is the Legend 27?
Alright, just a reminder, everything from here on out is new to me. I've never seen any of the episodes, specials, or even the fourth movie, The Legend 27 of Everfree. This was my first time watching it, and what did I think of it? Well, it was a big steamy pile of... The first film was a dumb guilty pleasure, Rainbow Cox was genuinely good and fun, and even the Cell games had some interesting ideas too. But this just fucking sucks. I went into it with low expectations, but even so, I did not expect to be this bored and disappointed by it.
Don't you have a super annoying alarm clock that goes
So the film starts with Twilight having a nightmare about evil Twilight, which is a great way to start the film. And by great, I mean shit, because I still hate the whole evil Twilight plotline. I already ranted about this in the last segment, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But either way, Twilight is scared of evil Twilight since she thinks she'll take over and harm her friends again. Now on paper, this isn't a bad concept, but the thing is they already sorta did this with Cuntshit in Rainbow Cox. Cuntshit felt ashamed for the way she treated everyone and felt as if she didn't fit in. They're both sort of different, but they're also pretty similar too. They both feel bad for how they acted in the previous film, and they're both trying to move on from it. That's why I don't care for Twilight in the film, since her arc is just a repeat of Cuntshit's arc. Anyway, Twilight wakes up and remembers that she's going on a camping trip with everyone at school. Now, although I really don't like the film, like at all, I will admit that it is refreshing to see a new setting. The last three films have taken place at school, so it's nice to see something new, even if it is just a generic camp. However, once they get to the camp, which is when the movie starts, it turns into a snooze fest. We get introduced to two new characters, Timber and his older sister Glory Hole, who are the camp counselors. Timber is Twilight's new love interest, which was very surprising. I thought she'd get together with Flash or just wouldn't have a love interest at all. But as for Timber, he's pretty bland and forgettable. I like that he makes Twilight happy, but still, on his own, he's basically nothing. Then there's Glory Hole, who is technically the film's villain. Kind of. So Glory Hole and her brother are struggling to keep the camp open because Filthy Rich wants to sell it. One day, Glory Hole finds a cave that holds the elements of armory. She obviously takes them and then uses their magic to try and help others around the camp. However, every time she did, she ended up failing. So because she's so obsessed with saving the camp, she goes Super Saiyan. And as you can tell, it's literally the exact same final act as the last film. Cuntshit helps Twilight, then everyone uses the power of friendship and stops Glory Hole. She wasn't evil after all because she had good intentions. It was all Filthy Rich's fault because he's a big evil white man and all white men are bad. But yeah, Glory Hole is yet another repeat of the Cell games. She's obsessed over something, and even though she isn't evil, she gets corrupted by magic and then everyone stops her. It's boring, it's cliche, it's unoriginal, and it sucks. I can't even say Glory Hole is a terrible villain because she isn't a villain. The only villain in the film is Filthy Rich, but he's barely in it. I did not care for Principal Penis at all, but at least she had a decent amount of screen time. Even though she was boring and forgettable, at least she was and still remained evil throughout the entire film. She manipulated everyone into thinking winning was everything and turned Twilight into a monster, even though that doesn't make sense.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Anyway, the lack of a villain might just be the film's biggest problem. Glory Hole and Timber are portrayed as potential twist villains, but they still don't do anything that harms any of the characters. Because of that, there's really no stakes for the first 45 minutes. The only thing that happens is that Twilight believes her magic has returned. Everyone else's magic returns too, which she also believes is her fault. But the thing is, this isn't a problem because everyone is happy that their magic is back. The one and only time this is an issue was when Derpy and some other horn dogs are on a boat and crash into one of the docks. Twilight believes this is her fault, but even so, none of them got hurt, so it's still okay. Derpy better not have been hurt, because if she did, I'm going to go to Hasbro Studios, pull my pants down, and... Anyway, like I said, there is not really a villain, threat, or any major stakes for the first 45 minutes. Because of this, I was mainly bored and confused the entire time. Even when Glory Hole turns into... I was still bored because, again, the last act is literally the exact same as the last and also the first movie. I don't get how the writing got this bad and bland. Even though most of the film sucks ass, there are some small moments and ideas I liked. Swimmer helping out Twilight is nice since she's been in the same position as her. She's basically like Starlight now, where she's a changed person that goes around helping others. Swimmer also bonds with Flash for a bit and tells him that he's not going to end up with Twilight since she's not the same Twilight as before.
My name is Jeff.
Flash gives up on her, but then decides to go after cunt shit because he's a giant simp. The only other very minor thing I'll give the film credit for is that it was surprising to have just Glory Hole be the antagonist. I thought both her and Timber would be scumbags, but no. I was wrong. But besides those small things, I really don't care for the film. It's boring, generic, and I think I only laughed like 3 times. Also, Glory Hole's design is not so good either. She's supposed to be, but she looks just as young as everyone else. For the entire film, I thought she was about 17, and I only found out what her age was after looking it up. So yeah, that's just poor design, but at least it's not as bad as... Finally, there's the music, and surprise, it's not good. This is easily the worst soundtrack of the 4 films. Almost all the songs are just okay at best, and I won't be remembering any of them after I'm done with this video. The Legend of Everfree is sort of decent, and Midnight in Me felt like it was going to be good, although it ends way too soon. Embrace the Magic is easily the best song in the film, although again, that's really not saying much. It's a fine song, but even so, it's not a solid or very memorable one. Even though the Cell Games wasn't good, it at least had Unleash the Magic, which was a genuinely good song. But Everfree doesn't even have one major or catchy song. Say what you want about the first Equestria Girls movie. You can say it sucks, but at least we got Helping Twilight Win the Crown, which slaps. But yeah, not having at least one memorable song in the film really makes it all the more forgettable. Like I said before, this was my first time watching Everfree, and I really wasn't missing anything. Literally nothing happens in it. It's boring, ideas are reused, it's unfunny, and it sucks, which is why I'm giving it a 2.5 out of 10.
And I'm all out of arrows.
Never mind, Derpy talked in it, so I'm changing my score to a 3 out of 10. Well, we're done with the movies, so next up is the Tales of Canterlot, which are 3 22-minute episodes. The first episode is Dance Magic, which is pretty mediocre. Rarity and everyone enter a competition in order to raise funds for Camp Everfree. However, there's some assholes from Crystal Meth Prep that steal their idea of making a music video. Although Rarity forgives them for some reason, and they then work together to make a music video because friendship is gay. It's a pretty generic and straightforward episode, although there are some things I liked about it. After seeing 4 movies in a row, it was refreshing to see something much shorter and smaller in scale. No one uses any magic, and there's also not a dumb and forced supervillain trying to destroy the school either. It felt different, which was nice. However, the lack of magic really goes to show that this is mostly just a super generic high school series and nothing more. Yes, we do have all the characters and even cunt shit in here, but they aren't nearly as fun, interesting, or well written as they are in the main series. It also doesn't help that this is a Rarity episode, and if you've seen my ranking video, you'd know that I stated that she is indeed worst pony. She's not bad or anything, she's fine, but she's clearly my least favorite of the main 6. Anyway, despite this being a Rarity episode, every other member of the main cast still makes an appearance here. They all don't do much, and I'm kind of annoyed that they're all sort of forced in here. For this type of plot, it does make sense for them to be here, but I figured these episodes would be more character focused and didn't need to include every mainline character in them. It's like, oh, you gotta have all the characters in all the episodes, otherwise it wouldn't be Equestria Girls. It's like in season 1 where Twilight was forced into every episode because she's the main character and she apparently needs to be in every episode. Thankfully, the writers realized this was dumb and stopped doing this, which is why they made one of the best episodes, Lesson 0.
Hi, girls.
Anyway, there's really not much else to say. It was interesting to see the series do a regular 22-minute episode like this, and I did appreciate how low the stakes were too. But besides that, this is still a pretty forgettable, generic, yet harmless episode. If this was the second or third episode, I would be more harsh on it, but as a first episode, it's not the worst thing since genital herpes. 5 out of 10.
But they are, and they're using actors.
Movie magic isn't as bad as the Legend 27 of Everfree, but it's still... So there's a Daring Do movie being made, and the director allows the main 7 to see it since they helped Camp Everfree. However, there's this one girl called Blue Poo who steals some of the set pieces. Everyone chases after her, they catch her, and then she gets yelled at and is banned from being on the set. Her getting caught and yelled at is pretty fun, but it's probably the only part I liked. The director, who is also her uncle, doesn't forgive her, which is good because she's a selfish piece of shit. I would have hated this episode if he and everyone else forgave her, but again, they don't, so at the very least, that was surprising. But besides that, the rest is just kinda boring. A decent amount of it is the main 7 trying to catch Blue Poo. It was fun seeing the cast dress up as superheroes again, and there's also a set they go on which is covered in fecal matter. However, there's really not much going on here. It's obvious that Blue Poo was the one who stole the set pieces, the comedy is weak, and again, it's just kinda boring. If this and the last episode were switched, then I'd say this is just mediocre and the other one would be bad and boring. If you ignore the fact that Dance Magic was the first episode, then I'd probably say that this is the better episode, but it's sort of hard to say for sure. Anyway, besides the last couple minutes, this is sorta boring. 4 out of 10.
Magic Mirror.
Mirror Magic is by far the best of the 3 episodes, and it actually isn't half bad. It starts shortly after the last episode, and Blue Poo is still complaining that she didn't get the part as Daring Do. Then out of nowhere, a flying magic comes and goes into a mirror. Blue Poo keeps it and realizes that she can suck up anything and trap them inside the mirror. While this is going on, Cunchit goes back to Equestria and meets Starlight Glimmer for the first time, which is actually really cool. Both used to be giant evil assholes, but are now both students of Twilight Sprinkle. They're very similar, which is why I always wondered what it'd be like if the two of them ever met. Not only that, but Cunchit lets Starlight go back to Canterlot High with her, so we get to see her in human form, which is really weird.
Squid's got genes!
Later, Blue Poo traps the main 7 inside the mirror, turns into... So now it's up to Starlight to save everyone. Starlight says, "Hey Blue Poo, you're not actually evil after all. You just want friends like everyone else." So then Blue Poo obviously frees them, and then they forgive her, and that's how the episode ends. I didn't care for Blue Poo in the last episode, but I actually ended up enjoying her here. She's an asshole that wants attention and fame, and will even go as far as trapping others inside a mirror forever to get it. However, despite not redeeming a small racist child, the series somehow always needs to redeem everyone that's a teenage girl, which is stupid. It's predictable, it's cliche, it's dumb, and I don't like it. One of the few things I liked in Movie Magic was that Blue Poo didn't get redeemed. Cunchit and many students from Crystal Meth Prep were redeemed, and the only ones that weren't were the Sirens and Principal Penis. So it's annoying that almost everyone who's an antagonist is forgiven, because that's really dumb. And anyway, Starlight saving everyone is very bizarre since this is her first and I believe only appearance in Equestria Girls. I know she's teaching Blue Poo about being forgiven and wanting friends and all that gay shit, but couldn't Cunchit have also done this too? This just shows how similar they are, which is sort of a problem despite me enjoying them when they're interacting with each other. Blue Poo's final form looks so stupid, but then again, this isn't a first for the series. The magic sperm coming out of nowhere makes no sense, since we have no idea where it came from or why it decides to go inside a mirror too. We're also reminded that the portal to Equestria is always open, which just creates humongous problems. I still refuse to believe that no one sees Cunchit when she enters it. Also, I'm sure at least one person or one object would have fallen into it by now, but I don't want to rant about that plot hole, otherwise I'll be here all day. Anyway, one thing that's very odd is that the color palette is washed out for some reason. It's a bit difficult to notice on characters like Pinky, Twilight, and Rarity, but for literally everyone else, it's extremely jarring. At first, I thought I was just watching it on a bad rip or something, but no, it's also available on YouTube and it looks exactly the same. I guess someone got fired after this, because in the specials, this is fixed and looks normal again. But yeah, Mirror Magic has some notable flaws, but there's definitely more good than harm here. Seeing Starlight and Cunchit become friends is really good, jokes are decent, and even the villain is kind of alright too. 6 out of 10. Forgotten Friendship is the first of 5 45-minute specials, and thankfully, just like Mirror Magic, it also wasn't half bad either. So there's this girl called Greenie Meanie, and she uses a magical stone to erase all the good memories the main 6 have of Cunchit. Because of this, Cunchit goes back to Equestria to get help from Twilight and Celestia. We get a genuinely solid scene where Cunchit apologizes to Celestia, and of course she forgives her. I never expected Cunchit to ever see Celestia again, so this was surprising. When she returns to Canterlot High, she ends up befriending Trixie, which I mostly like. I say mostly because this is sort of a rehash of the episode No Second Prances. In that episode, Starlight and Trixie, who were both enemies of Twilight, become good friends. There are clearly differences between that and this, but still, this just proves my point that Cunchit and Starlight are way too similar. This feels like something that's already been done before, but that being said, I do still enjoy it. They both have good chemistry together, and also Trixie is Trixie. She's great and powerful, so I can't really complain too much. The main 6 don't really do much here and are sort of just a plot device, although I actually don't mind that. A lot more attention is given to Cunchit spending time with Twilight, Celestia, and Trixie, which I'm all for. In some of the movies and episodes, it felt like characters were thrown in scenes just for the hell of it, but here they're all treated sort of as one entity, which again, I don't mind since it means others like Cunchit and Trixie get more screen time, which is good. But you know what's not good? Greenie Meanie getting redeemed, because of fucking course she does. She admits to erasing all the good memories the main 6 have of Cunchit, and even later wants to erase all their memories of high school. Yet despite all of this, everyone forgives her because I do like Greenie Meanie as a character and don't think she's as evil or mean as others, but still, I'm just annoyed at all these antagonists getting redeemed. It's predictable and it's extremely repetitive. That being said, this is probably my only somewhat major gripe with the special. Like I said, I do enjoy this. There's some solid concepts and also good jokes too. Yeah, so Greenie Meanie starts singing for like a minute, but then notices that Cunchit is trying to steal the stone from her bag. So she immediately stops singing, and that's how the song ends. This caught me way off guard, and this is probably the best joke in the entire Equestria Girls series. Anyway, just like the last episode, this is nothing groundbreaking. It's decent, it's fun, and I wouldn't mind watching it again. 6.5 out of 10.
Your eyes do not deceive you. I finally invented a selfie-sensing camera.
Actually, never mind. They say selfie multiple times. That's now going down to a 6 out of 10. Unfortunately, unlike the last two, Roller Coaster of Friendship is mediocre. It starts out nearly identical to Mirror Magic, where there's this girl called Phony Wony who's a big bitch. Out of nowhere, another magical comes and goes into her phone, and now whenever Phony Wony takes a picture of something, it gets sent inside her phone. Once that's done, she can send it back out, but it'll appear as a hologram thingy. Besides that one detail, this is literally just Blue Poo in the mirror from Mirror Magic, which I remind you was only 2 episodes ago. While this is going on, Rarity gets a job at a local theme park working for guess who? That's right, it's John C. Everyone else is at the theme park too, and each of them split up and do different things. Fluttershy and Dash go on a roller coaster, Applejack and Pinky sort of do their own thing, and Cunchit and Twilight get scammed by Flim and Flam. Yep, those bastards are back, and it's so bizarre seeing them in human form. Now, despite their designs, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Them being employees at a theme park fits perfectly, since all they do is scam people all day long. They scam Twilight and Cunchit, and the two of them waste so much time and money trying to win because they're both stubborn. They even feel bad for them at one point and try to give them a plushie out of pity. Once Twilight and Cunchit do give up and realize it's rigged, they end up winning without noticing, and Flim and Flam continue to scam everyone since they never change. These scenes are great and are without a doubt the highlight of the special. There's also Fluttershy and Dash riding a roller coaster, which is entertaining. Fluttershy gets over her fear of roller coasters, but of course Dash ends up being afraid of riding it again. This only takes takes up a few minutes of the film, which makes me wonder why the special is even called Roller Coaster of Friendship. Again, the only ones who ride a roller coaster are Fluttershy and Dash, and that's only for like a minute at most. Why wasn't this called Theme Park of Friendship, or Friendship Fair, or how about Big Annoying Bitch traps everyone inside her goddamn phone? Yeah, that's right. Phony Wony traps most of the cast inside her phone, just like the mirror from Mirror Magic. Except not really, because it turns out that they were just inside a random building at the park and it's never explained why. After this, everyone transforms and destroys Phony Wony's phone, which is literally just how the last special ended. And of course, everyone forgives her because... I know I'm repeating myself, but this just shows how goddamn repetitive the series is. Why does everyone need to be redeemed? This is fucking stupid. Blue Poo and Greenie Meanie were alright as antagonists, but Phony Wony is just really bland and forgettable. I didn't care for her as a villain, and I definitely didn't feel anything when she got redeemed. As I've said, there are things to like here. There's some fun scenes, decent jokes, and the setting is distinct for the series, but there's still some dumb things I really don't like. It's repetitive, the antagonist sucks, the ending is annoying, and there's also this god-awful scene where Rarity thinks Applejack is lying. Like, really? You've known her for years. You know she doesn't lie, yet you're not going to believe her?
Wow, what an asshole.
This is exactly why Rarity is worse pony. I mean human. Anyway, Roller Coaster of Friends Are Shit is a mixed bag. There's some fun scenes, but also some frustrating ones too. 5 out of 10.
Titanic.
Spring Breakdown fucking sucks. It's spring break and everyone goes on a cruise ship to relax and have fun. However, they aren't able to because Rainbow Dash keeps bothering them because she thinks there's equestrian magic on the ship. This is pretty frustrating and annoying, but still, this isn't Dash at her absolute worst, although that's really not saying too much.
Got it!
Anyway, after Dash Hole bothers everyone, they all perform one of their songs, but then... Now that the power is out, everyone goes off to do their own thing. Dash Hole stays outside and sees some glowing scrotums in the ocean. She believes that it's magic, so she gathers everyone up, but
bitch, you guessed it!
As soon as they all get there, the scrotums are gone, and everyone hates Dash Hole and thinks that she's crazy. Yay. Dash Hole uses a raft and goes onto an island, but gets stuck in quicksand. Kunchit and Twilight come, and all three of them go into a portal that somehow leads to Equestria. So apparently there's not just one portal that leads to the human world, but there could be many more. Despite its convenience, I'm not opposed to the idea, especially since it means we get this scene, which is by far the best and only good part in the special. Human Dash and Twilight become ponies, and it's really dumb but funny.
Let's have some fun! Pony style!
That's not a thing we say.
Twilight also meets Pony Twilight for the first time, so that's something, even if they barely talk to each other.
Ow! Too hot! It needs to be like 20% cooler.
He said it! He said it!
Also, we find out that the magic on the island is being caused by the Storm King, which... Okay. So apparently when Twilight and everyone defeated him, they didn't destroy all of his magic. And that magic somehow made its way into the portal Twilight, Dash Hole, and Kunchit came in from, so... Okay. Either way you look at it, this just seems like an ass pull from the writers. It is sort of cool to see the Storm King be mentioned and also be relevant again. However, being reminded of the Storm King again is pretty frustrating too. In my movie review, I complained that the Storm King got barely any screen time and he felt much more like a plot device rather than an actual character. This just further annoys me since his magic is literally just a plot device here. If the Storm King was able to manifest himself into a physical form or was at least able to talk, then that would have been really cool. Although we saw very little of him in the 2017 film, he was fun when we did get to see him. It would have been great to see a lot more of him here since I'm sure there's a lot they could have done with him. Plus, it would have been satisfying seeing the writers address one of my biggest complaints with the 2017 film. But that didn't happen, and what we got was something very similar to the season 4 premiere. The thread of the special is magic itself, which is different, however it's not very interesting. Anyway, Kunchit, Twilight, Twilight and Ashel go back to the human world, they use the Storm King's staff, and somehow that destroys his magic. It's extremely underwhelming, but then again, a lot of the series conclusions are like this.
I've waited my whole life to taste a cake like this.
There's some major problems with this special, and the biggest is that it's pretty boring. The first half sucks, barely anything happens, and what does happen is cliche and frustrating. Like I said, Rainbow Dash bothers everyone, and no one believes her when she says there's magic on the ship. Then the exact same thing happens once the power goes out, and now everyone is pissed at her. This frustrates me more than most people, because Dash is best pony and human, and I hate seeing her be butchered and used like this. Another problem is everyone splitting up and doing their own thing. Pinky tries to eat some of the chef's food, and Rarity spends time with some hipster who talks funny.
By golly, that's real copper it is.
The problem is that none of these characters or scenes amount to anything, so I don't really care for them. They just sort of feel like filler, which brings me to my next point. This really didn't need to be a 45-minute special, and feels like it could have been trimmed down to about 30-ish minutes, but I guess they couldn't have a 45-minute time slot, so they had to fill the time with something. Although if they were struggling to get this to 45 minutes, then why didn't they just include more scenes of human Twilight and Dash as ponies? Again, those scenes are fun and different, and I wanted to see more of them. But anyway, that's about all I have to say about this shit show. The first 30 minutes suck, it's unfunny, Dash is annoying, the Storm King was a big wasted opportunity, and most importantly, it's boring. Spring Mental Breakdown sucks Sasquatch pubic hairs, 3 out of 10.
Wish we could turn back time.
Kunchit's backstage pass isn't half bad, in fact, it's actually good. Everyone is at a festival, and Kunchit and Pinkie Pie are mainly there to see the band reunion of Korn perform. However, Kunchit is obsessed with getting front row seats to their performance, and that's all she cares about. Meanwhile, Pinkie wants to have fun and do a bunch of random stuff. Kunchit gets annoyed at Pinkie's shenanigans, which eventually causes them to get thrown out of the festival and of course miss the band's performance. After that, Kunchit says that if given the chance to redo the day, she'd spend it.
Damn, Daniel.
Kunchit wakes up and quickly realizes that she's living the same day as yesterday. Yep, this special is just a big parody of the Endless 8 from Haruhi. However, instead of reliving summer vacation, Kunchit is reliving the same day over and over again. She tries various things, such as spending the day without Pinkie and even driving the RV far enough away from the festival, but they both don't work. Eventually, they find out that the band members of Korn used a magic coaster to repeat the same day repeatedly. They did this because they wanted their reunion concert to be perfect, but every time they performed, something went wrong. The only reason Kunchit wasn't affected like everyone else was because she also wanted to redo the day, which I guess sorta makes sense. Kind of. Then again, I'm sure other people around the world would be affected by this too, but I really don't want to think about that. Anyway, Kunchit explains to Korn that it's okay if things go wrong, since life is about having fun with your friends. That's how the special ends, and overall, it's a solid ending. No one ponies up and transforms, there's no big evil threat, and the stakes are fairly low. If Kunchit and Pinkie failed, then Korn would have been in an infinite time loop. But then again, the decision is up to them, since they're the ones choosing to repeat the day over again. The yellow one is a bit tired of repeating the day, so she'd be the only one who would notice and somewhat suffer from this. Although if that's the worst that would happen, then I don't really see the problem here. Because of this, I don't consider Korn to be villains, which is why I enjoy seeing them realize that what they were doing wasn't right in the end. They weren't assholes or bad people, they were just normal girls that again, weren't harming anyone and didn't have any malicious intent.
So, I says to Big Mac, get your own chicken coop.
One of the strongest things about this special is its use of characters. A big problem with the series is that half the time it tries to shoehorn in every character and give them something to do. However, this special solely focuses on Kunchit and Pinkie's relationship. Twilight is sort of a third semi-important character, but again, the special is mainly centered around Kunchit and Pinkie. Rarity, Dash, Applejack, and Fluttershy literally do nothing, which is great. You don't need everyone to be in the spotlight liked, and this special is a good example of that. Because of this, we get to see Kunchit go through an arc and realize that she wasn't being considerate towards one of her friends. And the thing is, this arc is written pretty well too. Kunchit isn't a total, cunt, and I actually sort of side with her to a certain extent. She and Pinky want to do something that they both enjoy doing, and she just wants to make sure that they're both able to do it without any problems. There's nothing wrong with this, however, she gets way too fixated on this one thing that she forgets about having fun, which is a problem. Pinky is a bit annoying at times, although again, she just wants to have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. Pinky is right, and Kunchit is in the wrong. However, none of their actions feel forced, and neither of them become dislikable. I can't say the same for the other specials and episodes, which is why this really surprised me. Also, Kunchit is still sort of new to friendship, so I can definitely see her being the one to go through this arc. Anyway, the Sirens also make a short cameo, which is pretty fun. They're still singing assholes and haven't seemed to change much since Rainbow Cocks, which is good.
All toasters, toast, toast.
It's a nice short scene that was probably done as fan service, although it still manages to be written into the special pretty well. The orange-haired one tells Kunchit that she herself should change, which finally makes her realize that she hasn't been thinking about Pinky this entire time. Besides that, there's not too much else to say that I haven't already said. The premise is great, even if it's still a ripoff of Haruhi. Then again, I don't mind, since a concept this great is so interesting that it seems difficult to not make it fun and exciting. Even the comedy isn't half bad either. It's not great or anything, but it's easily one of the series' funniest.
Wait, did one of you remember to take the bread out of the toaster?
It's not my job to not start fires.
How is I supposed to know you can't put tacos in the toaster?
The only minor complaints I have are that Pinky is a bit annoying at times, Kunchit's arc is very predictable, and Kunchit not being affected by the loop is a bit dumb. But again, these are all minor annoyances that don't really bother me. Kunchit's backstage pass is surprisingly pretty good, 7 out of 10.
It's beginning to look again like Christmas.
Holidays Unwrapped is the last special, and it's just a collection of Christmas shorts. There's 6 of them, and they're each 7 minutes.
7 minutes?
7 minutes.
And because they're so short, there's not much to really say about them. Overall, they're just sort of forgettable, but also harmless. Again, they're only 7 minutes.
7 minutes?
7 minutes.
So if you aren't a fan of one, then at least you won't be bored for long. For example, there's the last short which has Rarity make everyone a bunch of goofy dresses to wear for a group photo. I've never thought characters wearing goofy clothes was funny, so this didn't really do much for me, but again, it's short, so I don't hate it. But you know what I do hate? Bulk fucking biceps putting his arm around my wife derpy hooves. Why are you doing this? Are you telling me that he's now in a relationship with her? When and why in the fuck did this happen? Bulk biceps is a goddamn pedophile who went after the Cutie Mark Crusaders. I know this because I saw porn of it on Rule 34! Anyway, like I said, all the shorts are either alright or just watchable at worst. There's one where everyone tries to come up with a way to get back into the school, which is kind of fun. Fulham and Flam are back, and apparently they've been messing with Applejack's family for a few years now, which doesn't make sense. In Roller Coaster of Friendship, Applejack saw Fulham and Flam, and she didn't seem to recognize them, so this is sort of a dumb retcon. It's really weird that this is the last major thing to come from the Equestria Girls series, especially since we already have 5 Christmas specials. To give this special credit, at least it's trying to do something different, since it is just a collection of shorts and not one cohesive story. Also, half the time it doesn't even feel like a Christmas special and feels more winter themed instead. The second short has Kunchit and Pinky protect a muffin during a snowball fight so they can give it to Rarity. It has nothing to do with Christmas and is just a short that just so happens to take place in winter, which I sort of like.
I triple checked my game theory.
But yes, this is the last major thing to come from Equestria Girls, which is extremely bizarre. Obviously, I don't know if there were plans to continue the series and make more specials or even a 5th movie, but either way, this is technically the finale to Equestria Girls, and clearly it wasn't meant to be. I don't see this as the big conclusion to the series, because again, it isn't, so I'm not going to hold that against the special. Holidays Unwrapped Unwrapped is sort of whatever, but it's harmless and completely watchable. 5 out of 10.
Too many cooks.
Before I started watching the series, I knew there were a handful of shorts that were only 2 to 2.5 minutes long. I wasn't planning on watching them, and especially wasn't planning on talking about them in this video. But here I am now, and why exactly am I even bothering bringing them up? Well, there's two main reasons. First off, I thought there were about 15 to 20 of them, so at most I'd spend around 45 minutes watching them, and then I'd be done. But no, I was wrong. Very, very wrong. You want to know how many shorts there are? Here, take some time to think. There are exactly 102 shorts. Why? Why are there so many goddamn shorts? They're just 2-minute shorts, but again, why are there so many of them? If you had this much time to make so many of these, then why not put all that effort into making a 12-episode season instead? It's not that much shorter than a regular 12-episode season either. Watching all of these shorts will take you between 3.5 to 4 hours. Again, I can't stress this enough. Why?
Why?
The thing that's even more bizarre about this is that a good majority of the shorts aren't half bad either. Sure, there's some that are pretty forgettable and kinda boring, but I'd say about 8 out of 10 of them were actually alright. They aren't going to blow your mind JFK style or anything, but they're decently entertaining. It's weird saying this after not caring for most of the Holidays Unwrapped shorts, but I guess the writing in these are just much tighter and better, I guess. Most of them were decently funny, and a lot of them kept my attention too. There's some that are typical shorts, and some that are music videos that also include new songs too. The last ones are these choose your own ending videos, where there's 3 alternate endings to the shorts. It's weird, but it's different, and again, they're fun, so I don't mind them. But yeah, I really did not expect to enjoy these that much, but I'm glad they were better than I anticipated. I just wish there wasn't so goddamn many because it makes it difficult to recommend them. Like, yeah, a good amount of them are decent, but there's still over 100 of them. I doubt many people want to sit there like I did and click through 100 videos for almost 4 hours. It's probably best to just watch a few a day for a month straight, but that's entirely up to you. Anyway, yes, the shorts were surprisingly fun. 6 out of 10.
I'm a banana!
Well, that was the entire Equestria Girls series, and what did I think of it? It's alright, and that's being very generous. Some of it is shit, some of it is actually good, but most of it is either just watchable or okay. There's nothing offensive in here, but there also isn't anything great either. If you're like me and haven't seen a majority of the series or haven't seen it at all, then you're really not missing much. Yes, there are some decent and even good parts, but again, there's also some just passable and forgettable stuff too.
Throwing flashbang.
Just for shits and giggles, I'll do a quick ranking of everything. So, The Legend 27 of Everfree, Spring Breakdown, Movie Magic, Dance Magic, Roller Coaster of Friendship, The Cell Games, Holidays Unwrapped, Mirror Magic, All the Shorts, Equestria Girls, Forgotten Friendship, Cuntshit's Backstage Pass, and finally, Rainbow Cocks.
Baby, touch my tingling nerves with your gentle hand.
Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, you can leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, or even support me on Patreon. Link down below. Also, as mentioned, this is one of the 2 videos that aired for 2024 April Fools. If you want to watch my other video, then you can watch it by using the link in the description. Anyway, be sure to subscribe for my 7-hour-long review of the greatest anime and manga of all time, Heaven's Lost Property, because that'll be out eventually.
Be cool enough to win, but not so cool that we end up showing off the whole ears and tails and rainbows thing. So, about 20% less cool.